Here's something fascinating. And by fascinating, I mean terrifying. Just weeks before Donald Trump's return to the White House, who should emerge from the shadows? Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, and Dr. Wu, all pushing a suspiciously familiar narrative about, wait for it, bird flu. Yes, they're calling for immediate vaccine authorization, new mandates, and yes, even suggesting the possibility of lockdowns. Now, I'm just asking questions here, but have you noticed the timing? The same cast of characters who locked you down in 2020 are suddenly back in the spotlight, and they're not just back, they're already pushing for emergency powers. Coincidence? When has anything involving these people ever been a coincidence? Now, America, what I'm about to tell you is crucial. Just as these health tyrants push for more control, more mandates, and experimental vaccines, it's never been more important to protect your wealth. Back in 71, Nixon took us off the gold standard, and our currency has been devaluing ever since. While they print money for their next health emergency, smart patriots are protecting themselves with gold. So call my friends at Global Gold Investments, 888-700-4148. Mention Next News and receive their 2024 Protect Your Wealth and Retirement Guide absolutely free. Don't let the next manufactured crisis destroy your savings. All right, let's get into it. This just in. The Illinois Review posting power grab, mask mandates return to New York, New Jersey, and California, despite recent pandemic reports citing the truth about it. Here it is. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is back at it again, encouraging Americans to wear masks this season as public health officials in New York, New Jersey, and California reinstate COVID-era mask mandates at healthcare facilities, despite a recent pandemic report that concluded, among other things, the science behind it. In a post in December, on the CDC's official X account, they wrote the best way to reduce your risk from seasonal flu is to get a flu vaccine, but preventative actions like covering your mouth and nose when coughing, sneezing may help prevent those around you from getting sick. Wearing a mask can also provide another layer of protection. Here's the post right here from the CDC, just in time. Don't you love it, huh? Well, Roger Stone had this to say about what's coming next. Democrats and independents like RFK, Gabbard, now a Republican, and Governor Blagojevich, my former governor, who favor common sense, peace, free speech, and holding big pharma and big food accountable for poisoning our children. That is a great fight and the source of the next
are fat. This is a realignment in which those who favor endless war, where our inherent national interests are not clear, who would censor our free speech, not only on the internet, but in all mediums, and who think it is fine for big pharma and big food to do anything they want as long as profits are fat. While at the same time, common sense Democrats and independents, Democrats like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, who is now a Republican, and Governor Rod Blagojevich, and those who favor common sense, who want peace, who support free speech, and think it is important to find out why big pharma and big food are poisoning our children. That is the great fight, and that is the source of the great realignment. The
great realignment is happening, my friends, and you are all witness to it. Now, if you recall, just a few weeks ago, we reported on this guy right here, Dr. Peter Hotez. And it's like right on cue. He said on day one, right after the Trump inauguration, get ready, because all the viruses are going to come out. Like on cue, right after the inauguration. And now Fauci and all of them are back in the media. But this is the warning that was given to us just a few weeks ago.
In 2000, here's the reason why we need to care about this stuff, Nicole, is that we have some big picture stuff coming down the pike starting on January 21st. Mr. Bloomberg mentioned H5N1. That I'm really worried about. It's all over wild birds on the western part of the United States and going up in the north. It's getting into the poultry. We're seeing sporadic human cases, no human-to-human transmission yet, but that could happen. It's in the cattle. It's in the milk. And that's just the beginning. We have another major coronavirus likely brewing in Asia. We've had SARS in 2002, SARS-2, COVID-19 in 2019. And we know these viruses are jumping from bats to people thousands of times a year. But there's still more. We know that we have a big problem with mosquito-transmitted viruses all along the Gulf Coast, where I am here in Texas. So we're expecting dengue and possibly Zika virus coming back, or a Puche virus, maybe even yellow fever. And there's more. Then we have all this sharp rise in vaccine preventable
Is it a to-do list here? Reading
because of you can pause it by now. Here's the reason why we need to care about this stuff, Nicole, is that we have some big picture stuff coming down the pike starting on January 21st.
January 21st. That's the day Donald Trump will have his first full day back in the White House. So this is the narrative that's being presented to us. This just in. The Chinese-born woman, Dr. Leana Wen, just called on Biden to immediately authorize bird flu vaccines and distribute millions of doses ASAP. This woman hates her freedoms and should be behind bars, yet the mainstream media continues to give her a platform. Let's listen to what she had to say.
And the second, there are two main things that they should be doing in the days that they have left. The first is to get testing out there. I feel like we should have learned our lesson from COVID that just because we aren't testing, it doesn't mean that the virus isn't there. It just means that...
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we did learn our lesson. We certainly did learn our lesson listening to people like you.
Aren't looking for it. We should be having rapid tests, home tests available to all farm workers, to their families, for the clinicians taking care of them, so that we aren't waiting for public labs and CDC labs to tell us what's bird flu or not. And the second very important thing is, this is not like the beginning of COVID where we were dealing with a new virus, we didn't have a vaccine. There actually is a vaccine developed already against H5N1. The Biden administration has contracted with manufacturers to make almost 5 million doses of the vaccine. However, they have not asked the FDA to authorize the vaccine. There's research done on it. They could get this authorized now and also get the vaccine out and to farm workers and to vulnerable people. I think that's the right approach, because we don't know what the Trump administration is going to be doing around bird flu. If they have people coming in with anti-vaccine stances, could they hold up vaccine authorization? If they don't want to know how much bird flu is out there, could they withhold testing? I mean, that's a possibility. And I think the Biden administration in the remaining days should get testing and vaccines widely available so that at least it empowers state and local health officials and clinicians to do the right thing for their patients.
Dr. Wen, is bird flu in humans super dangerous?
Well, the World Health Organization estimates that in prior outbreaks of the bird flu, that the mortality rate is 52%. 52%. However, in this most recent outbreak, it seems that most cases have been mild, and maybe some people even have asymptomatic infection. But the question is, we don't know what happens when bird flu affects more vulnerable individuals. People infected so far in the U.S. have been mainly farm workers who are working, presumably generally healthy, as opposed to what happens when you get to children, to pregnant women, to older individuals with chronic illnesses. We don't know how deadly, how dangerous bird flu is going to be for those individuals. And again, that's one more reason why we don't want it to spread and acquire more mutations. There are two main...
Oh, yes, they are playing the song yet again. Oh, yes, my friends. Trying to restart the scam with bird flu H5N1. The whole thing is to continue the scam and to inject fear into the American people yet again. Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, and Dr. Wu are all back in time for Trump's inauguration. Oh, here's Fauci. I guess he's not doing his interview from behind bars yet, so we can only hope for that. But here.
And chicken. Now, let me tell you the sobering news. The sobering news is that can change because the virus infects more than one species, and we know it can infect pigs.
My goodness.
Pigs are on farms with chickens and with cows, and chickens and cows can infect with their virus a pig, and then a human virus can go into pig, and then you could get a reassortment of a virus that has some of the dangerous qualities of H5N1 and some of the capability of spreading from human to human of a human virus. So that's what public health officials are concerned about, that when you have the circulation of this virus in multiple species, including a mixing bowl species like a pig, you might get a reassortment and a mutation that could make this something we really have to be concerned about. And that's the reason why the CDC says, although currently the risk in general is low, we still have to pay close attention to the possibility that might change.
Do you remember when he said mixing bowl, right? Mixing bowl. Well, I thought the Wuhan lab was the mixing bowl for coronavirus, wasn't it? That's what I recall. And that being said, so the pigs are now, this is the new thing, the pigs are the mixing bowl. But what about other gain-of-function research that we don't know about? Any man-made interventions that are the real mixing bowl, right? See how the narrative's starting to develop already? Yeah, that's how they do it. And then we have Dr. Birx. Oh, yeah, she's back too. Remember her and her scarves?
But it sounds like it doesn't. It sounds like from what you're laying out, you don't think this country has learned from the COVID pandemic.
All right. Oh, no, we've learned from the COVID pandemic. We certainly have. That's why we can spot this BS from a mile away.
Not a sense of urgency right now.
Our agencies are making the same mistakes they made with COVID. The number 2 principle of pandemic is detect. And the only way to detect for viruses is to test. You cannot see a virus through symptoms. You miss so many cases. Yet we're still talking about flu-like illness.
But it sounds like it doesn't. It sounds like.
Oh, yeah. They are all back, parroting the same message. Take a look at some reactions. It seems we only have pandemics during the Trump presidency. John Rocker, they've been given a green light by the deep state to launch the next pandemic. Here we go again, with the same cast of characters pushing for more control. Fauci, Birx, and now Wu. Let's not forget the damage from last time. No more lockdowns. Trump must resist this agenda. Black Briar 58. Well, they can try, but it will not work this time. And oh my goodness, such timing. Oh, look, Trump will be back in office in days. Better roll out the bulls. Maybe there are a few sheep we can still control. All liars in lockstep messaging. Another one, almost like they're determined to reprise their anti-Trump complaints during a new outbreak. Hammering Trump got them points last time. Gianni POV, Dr. Fauci, the king of flip-flops, back to push his next fear campaign. Spare us the combo virus horror stories. We've seen your track record, and trusting you is the real gamble. Hard pass. Here's a picture we'd all love to see. Of course, we know that Bill Gates went down to Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, I wonder what he was talking about down there. Angry Trumper. These scum need to be held accountable for all these lies they told in 2020 and beyond with respect to COVID. This is what happens when you don't hold them accountable. They come out of their holes and try to do the same thing again, except this time with bird flu enough lies. The stupidity and arrogance of them actually trying this again is hilarious. I'm telling you right now, they're grossly underestimating on how awake the American people are right now. If I wouldn't know any better, I think they're trying to provoke a civil war. Robbie Starbuck, I'm going to go on record now. He says, I don't care if Fauci says combo virus of bird flu, Ebola, monkeypox, COVID is on the loose. I won't comply with any government mandate. I'll use my own good sense to decide what's best for my family. I have a better track record than they do. And then he's quote tweeting the videos of Birx and Wu and Fauci. Nicholas Hulscher, MPH, the bird flu vaccine that she wants approved for humans is called Audenz, made by CSL Seqirus. Humans injected with the Audens vaccine died at a rate of 1 in 200, which is 0.5%, compared to 0.1% in the placebo group. In one of the clinical trials, this deadly injection must not be authorized for human use. So this is these are the notes from the Audens vaccine that she is pushing. So humans injected with it died at a rate of 1 in 200. How lovely is that, right? Think about what would happen if that was released on a large scale. Alex Jones posting here. Bird flu pandemic is another big pharma hoax. Here's why you should be skeptical. Another deadly virus headline is here, and this time it's about bird flu. The media and big pharma want you to believe that we're on the brink of a pandemic, but let's break it down. Grant Cardone, looks like they will attempt to derail Trump with a bird flu. Would you take the bird flu vaccine? And here's this guy, Link Lauren. The health experts in the mainstream media are sounding the alarm on the bird flu. Here's the truth. Let's listen.
90s. Well, my friends, it's obvious right now the pharmaceutical industry and their cronies in the mainstream media are working overtime to make bird flu a thing. It's like high-waisted jeans or any show from the 90s. They keep trying to bring bird flu back. Now, I took it upon myself to speak with several people in the farming industry who all say this fear-mongering has gotten out of control. They say bird flu, it's been around forever, but only now that we have a new administration coming in are people going on TV and laying the groundwork to shut down the country. Now, what the mainstream media doesn't want to report are the actual facts and the data. So if we look at 2024, we have 65 cases of H5N1. That is the bird flu. Of those cases, 39 were associated with dairy herds, 23 with poultry farms. There's only one serious case in Louisiana. The man is still alive, but he's over 65 with pre-existing conditions and was handling sick, dead birds. Now, this is the part they absolutely don't want you to know. There is zero evidence of human-to-human spread of the bird flu, not a shred of evidence that it can go from person to person. Now, despite all that information, this woman, Dr. Leana Wen, who is Big Pharma's biggest cheerleader, she's going on television and calling for the Biden administration to rush the authorization of a vaccine for bird flu.
There actually is a vaccine developed already against H5N1. The Biden administration has contracted with manufacturers to make almost 5 million doses of the vaccine. However, they have not asked the FDA to authorize the vaccine. There's research done on it. They could get this authorized now and also get the vaccine out and to farm workers and to vulnerable people. I think that's the right approach because we don't know what the Trump administration is going to be doing around bird flu. If they have people coming in with anti-vaccine stances, could they hold up vaccine authorization?
Now, I took it upon myself to pull up this woman's biography. She is the former president of Planned Parenthood. She writes for the Washington Post, and she was a spokesperson for the COVID-19 pandemic, whatever that means. So let's just say she's not going to be speaking at Turning Point. Now, you guys come to my page because I call it like I see it. There is just something about this woman I do not trust. When I look at her, I'm very streetwise, I'm very perceptive. I do not trust her. She even posted a picture in 2022 of her very young children with masks on, saying she was so happy kids under 5 could now get the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines for COVID. I don't know if she has anything to gain financially from Pfizer, but she has received awards sponsored by the company. She has posts praising Fauci as her Lord and Savior. She wrote an op-ed in July for the Washington Post after Joe Biden dropped out, saying, "Thank you, President Biden, for leading us through the pandemic." She's also said horrific, terrible things about Donald Trump's incoming appointees and his administration, but she has no problem with Rachel Levine. So she wants us to get health advice from a man in a dress, not people who actually work out every day and are healthy. So this supposed health expert wants all of us to get vaccinated against bird flu, which can't even spread from person to person right now, but she doesn't want to talk about exercise, eating well, getting sunlight, vitamin D, adequate rest. She doesn't want to talk about those things on television. Now, the mainstream media, most of these cable news networks, they are making billions of dollars from pharmaceutical advertisers. The US and New Zealand, they're actually the only two developed nations that allow big pharma ads on television. So someone like Dr. Leana Wen, she is crack for big pharma pharma and the television network. She's going on TV, calling for the authorization of a new vaccine. That's going to put billions of dollars in the pockets of the pharmaceutical companies. And the television networks, they're also going to profit as well because those are their advertisers. Now, like I always say, I've never taken a dollar from the RNC or the DNC or any special interest group. The only thing I'm beholden to is the truth. And I would respect people like this a lot more if they went on TV and were honest. Instead of telling us we have our heads in the sand, we're not reacting fast enough, everybody be scared, we could shut down the country, emergency authorization, why don't you tell us there's no human-to-human spread right now? Not a shred of evidence that it can spread from human to human, but you're going on TV and doing this fear-mongering. So in conclusion, when it comes to bird flu, I'm not going to listen to bird brain people, especially these health experts who have said Joe Biden, he's in perfect condition, he's doing cartwheels in private, we have nothing to worry about, he's not in decline. You people want us to believe you now after lying to us for years. All right, my friends, thanks for liking and following. Drop a comment. Tell me how you feel about bird flu. How do you feel about pharmaceutical advertising on television? I will see you on the next one. Bye. Well,
Now imagine this. RFK Jr. has said that he is going to restrict pharma advertising on television, which I think is absolutely necessary. And it would prevent people like Wen from going on and doing a pump and dump scheme for pharma, as you just saw. So we got the mask mandates coming back. We've got Fauci and Birx. But I think what's most troubling is the statement from Dr. Peter Hotez, who gave us that warning that immediately after Trump swears in to the Oval Office again, that we're going to see more viruses.
We need to care about this stuff, Nicole, is that we have some big picture stuff coming down the pike starting on January 21st. Mr. Bloomberg mentioned H5N1. That I'm really worried about. It's all over wild birds on the western part of the United States and going up in the north. It's getting into the poultry. We're seeing sporadic human cases, no human.
So we're watching the narrative develop in real time. We're watching the news media start to spread the fear-mongering. We're seeing the mask mandates come back. So everyone be on guard for what's going to come next. So think about it. They're rolling out the exact same playbook they used in 2020. The fear-mongering, the push for emergency authorizations, the sudden reappearance of the same experts who got everything wrong the last time. But here's what's different. We are awake now. We've seen this movie before, and we know how it ends. The question is, what is their real endgame? Is this genuinely about public health, or is it about control? Is it about power? Is it about derailing Trump's return to office? So here's what I want you to do. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us, do you believe that this sudden bird flu panic is a legitimate health concern, or is it political warfare designed to stop Trump's agenda? And while you're sharing your thoughts, don't forget to check out our exclusive Mag Avengers collection at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Show the world you're awake and fighting back.